Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel where we celebrate our unique expression of perfection. I'm Brooke Taylor, and today I'm sharing things I wish I knew before starting my glute training journey, all while taking you through one of my current glute workouts. So if you're ready to grow smarter, not just harder, let's get into it. For the first movement, I'm doing Bulgarian split squats on the Smith machine. One leg is elevated behind me on the bench while the other is planted firmly in front. I'm lowering deep into that lunge to really stretch and engage the glute. Let me just say, no amount of random reps or pretty workouts built my glutes. It wasn't until I stopped guessing and started following a programmed plan that I actually saw growth. So tip number one would be glute growth is a science. It's not just about feeling the burn. True glute hypertrophy requires mechanical tension, muscle damage, and metabolic stress. In other words, you need strategy. Studies show that progressive overload, gradually increasing resistance over time, is the most effective way to build muscle. That's why having a real training structure is everything. All right, so this next exercise is the reverse deficit lunge. And I'll be honest with you, I only recently added these into my routine, but they've quickly become a favorite. At first, I didn't feel them in my glutes at all. I didn't really know how to position my body to get the most out of the movement. So like many of us do, I stuck with the exercises I was already comfortable with, but once I learned proper form, everything changed. Here's how to do them right. You're going to step back off of the platform, which increases your range of motion and puts the glutes in a deeper stretch. As you lower down, lean your torso slightly forward. This is key. It shifts more of the load into your glutes instead of your quads. As you push back up, drive through your front heel and focus on squeezing the glute at the top. Control the descent and don't rush the movement. And that leads me to tip number 2. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. When you're new to an exercise and it doesn't feel right, don't give up on it right away. Start with a lighter weight, focus on your form, and give yourself time to build that mind-muscle connection. It's normal to not feel it at first, but if you stay consistent and intentional, you'll learn how to make the movement work for your body. The goal isn't just to finish the reps, it's to actually feel the glutes doing the work. Now, let's talk about one of the most humbling exercises in my routine. Smith machine step-ups. And I'll be real with you, I used to hate these. I couldn't feel them in my glutes. They felt awkward, and honestly, I avoided them for a long time. But that brings me to tip number 3. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Again, not every glute exercise will feel amazing right away, and that's okay. Some movements like hip thrusts or Romanian deadlifts feel great from day one, but others like step-ups require patience, adjustment, and form tweaks to finally click. Now let me walk you through how to actually perform Smith machine step-ups the right way so that you can feel them in your glutes. Make sure you set up a flat bench or a sturdy platform directly under the Smith bar. Stand tall with your chest up and place your entire flat foot on the bench, not just your toes. As you step up, slightly lean forward at the hips to bias the glutes. Keep your back neutral and don't round your spine. Drive through your heel of your front leg. Think of pushing the floor away with your glutes. At the top, squeeze your glute, then lower down with control. Lightly tap the toes of your back foot to the floor, but don't use it to push off. The working leg should do 90 to 100% of the work. And here's the secret. Go lighter than you think. When I first started, I was going too heavy, overcompensating with my quads and barely using my glutes. Once I dropped the weight, slowed the tempo, and focused on pushing through the heel, I finally felt it. So if you're struggling with certain exercises, don't skip them, modify them, learn them, practice with lighter loads until the mind-muscle connection locks in. That's where the growth happens. Up next, we've got Smith machine Romanian deadlifts, one of my all-time favorite glute movements. Here's the next tip. Work smarter, not harder, especially when it comes to your setup. I personally love using the Smith machine for RDLs because it eliminates all the hassle. No dragging plates across the gym, no awkward barbell setup. You just load, position, and lift. Here's the thing, when your setup is easier, you'll spend less energy preparing and more energy performing. That means better focus and better form. Let's get into how to actually perform a proper RDL. Start by standing on a small platform to increase your range of motion. Keep your feet hip width apart, toes pointed forward, slight bend in your knees. As you lower the bar, hinge at the hips, push your glutes back like you're closing a door with your butt. Keep your back neutral and your core braced and your shoulders pulled back. A pro tip is to start light to master your hinge pattern. You don't need heavy weight to feel the burn. The key takeaway, make the gym work for you. The more efficient and seamless your setup, the fewer excuses you'll have, and the more progress you'll make. Next up, my favorite glute exercise of all time, hip thrusts. And here's tip number 5. Hip thrusts are non-negotiable. You should be doing them every glute day. Unlike squats or lunges that load your glutes in this stretch, hip thrusts provide maximum tension at the top, where glutes work the hardest. Studies show they activate the glute max more than squats or deadlifts, which means more lift, shape, and volume. Here are some form tips. Feet slightly wider than shoulder width. Drive through your heels, tuck your chin, brace your core, squeeze at the top, and do not overextend. Here I'm using 3 plates and doing 15 reps on the glute drive machine. But form matters more than weight. Master this movement and make it a permanent part of your routine. Up next, we have standing plate abductions, also known as standing lateral leg raises with a plate. And that brings me to tip number 6, control is everything. This movement targets your gluteus medius and minimus, the side glute muscles responsible for hip abduction. Training these consistently helps sculpt that upper glute shelf and contributes to that snatched hourglass shape from the side and back view. In this variation, I'm holding a 25-pound plate against the outer thigh and using the machine only for balance. As you can see, I'm leaning over, not for an extreme amount of support. I'm leaning forward slightly and controlling the motion with my glute, not momentum. You're using your glute to lift the plate. My arm is just there to stabilize the plate, not assist the lift. The key here is to keep the movement slow and intentional, really focusing on lifting with your outer glute, not your quad or your back. You will feel the burn, and that's exactly what we want. So again, don't rush it, control the lift, feel the squeeze, and let the muscle do the work. The cable is another variation that we are about to get into next. Now we're moving into cable glute abductions, a more isolated and controlled version of side glute work. Compared to the plate variation, cables provide constant tension throughout the entire range of motion, making them slightly more effective for targeting and shaping the glute medius. The proper form for cable glute abductions are to attach the ankle strap to the working leg and stand sideways to the machine. Hold onto the machine with the opposite hand for balance. Slightly lean forward at the hips to bias the glutes, not the hip flexors. Keep a soft bend in the standing leg and lift the working leg out to the side with control. No swinging. Try your best not to swing. Pause and squeeze at the top, then lower back down slowly. This is going to burn, so it's best to kind of use a lighter weight and then do about 3 sets of 15 reps for this exercise. This is what we call a accessory exercise for the glutes. You're going to want to do a higher amount of repetitions so that you can feel that glute burn. One of the most important things in your training is making sure you actually feel the burn and that the exercise is targeting the right muscles. A lot of the time, it's not that we're doing the wrong workouts, it's that we're not truly challenging ourselves. We go through the motions, stay in our comfort zone, and then wonder why we're not seeing the results we want. Progress takes time, yes, but if you're not pushing yourself during that time, you're only extending the process. If you want to see faster results, you have to train with more intention, more intensity, and more focus. To finish off this workout, I'm hitting one of the most underrated glute builders in the gym, the glute hyperextension machine. When done right, this move targets the lower glutes, hamstrings, and even strengthens your posterior chain, giving you that lifted, sculpted look from the backside. I'm adding a plate to increase resistance, and notice how I keep the movement slow and controlled. I'm driving the motion through my glutes, not my lower back. And that brings me to my final tip. Intensity matters more than variety. You don't need 100 different exercises. You need a few proven movements done with proper form, progressive overload, and consistent effort. That's the difference between training and transforming. If you've been watching and thinking, I need a plan that actually works, stay tuned. I'm dropping my glute program soon. It's designed to take you from guessing to growing with exact workouts, weekly progressions, and the techniques I use to build my glutes from the ground up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're ready to start your glute growth journey, don't forget to check the description box. I've linked a free glute guide to help you get started. And if you're ready to take things to the next level, I've also created a full glute program just for you. If you love this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to stay perfectly you.